Hi, my name is Mary Ball Washington. I'm the mother of George Washington. My George was a good kid. He was a well-behaved, well-mannered child growing up. He played like all kids play with different toys, but he also worked. We lived on a farm, and he had to do his share of the work. When he was 11, his father died, so we inherited Ferry Farm. George was not able to go to Britain to be educated like his half-brother Lawrence and the other guys, because his father didn't leave enough money for that. So George had to be educated by tutors and myself, and he did pretty good though. He was an outgoing person, and one of the things I'm really proud of is that I taught him to ride. And when he did finally go to war, that was one of my biggest worries, though, was him riding that horse in that uniform, all decked out and everything, that he would be shot. And actually, it's true that his horse was shot out from him 3 different times. He was never shot, but, he had bruises from the tumble and everything. But that was always a big worry for me. And I didn't see much of George when he was, during those war days, because he was busy. So it left me to run the farm by myself, which was hard work. Everything was scarce. Money was scarce. Food was scarce, because everything you had, you gave to the soldiers to feed them. So it was a tough time. And I really certainly was glad when the war was over. And then George, became president. And I got sick. I got breast cancer and passed away. But George came to visit me just before that, maybe about a month before that, being very, very sick. I don't quite remember. But he came and told me he was going to be the president now. And I was just so proud of him. And I just told him to go fulfill his destiny, because I had known ever since he was a little child that he had a destiny and that he would grow into it. And he did. Thank you.
Hi, I am Charity Britton, and I was born back in 1720. So today, that makes me 307 years old. I own the inn on King Street. Now, you don't know what King Street is? Well, I think you call that Warren Street now. And I owned it with my husband. But he passed away. That's why I have a black neckerchief on. He passed away, but they let me continue and own the inn as a widower, which was unusual for women to own property back then. So I operated the inn in Trenton, which was crucial to the Revolution because it was halfway in between Philadelphia and New York. So we had many travelers coming by, and many political figures, many soldiers, many officers, and families, and staying at my inn. The inn in those days was the center of the town. It was responsible for so many things. News of the day, rest for the travelers, because the travelers could only go about, at the most, 15 miles a day, and they needed to rest their horses. And also it served as a trading post and entertainment. I have here a mystery bag, and in it we're going to have someone a volunteer pick out an object, and I will tell you what it had to do with my inn. All right, here's our volunteer.
Hello, my name is Dalquay.
All right, would you like to pick something out of the bag? Don't be afraid. So this is a tankard. And the tankard was what they drank out of back then. Now, what did they drink? You might think water, but in those days, the water was contaminated and dangerous to drink. So we served and we drank beer a lot. even the children drank beer of a very low alcohol quantity. It was called near beer. We also had hard ciders to drink. So we had that at our inn. And we usually started serving that at the end of the day, also in the tavern to the men at around 7. But we drank beer all day. And George Washington, he gave me his recipe for near beer, which I'm going to tell you a secret. It contained a little bit of molasses. Shh. And he wanted his men to drink that. He said, don't drink the water because we don't need you to get sick before the battle. Drink the near beer. So they filled up their selves with near beer. Pick again. Let's see what you have this time. So this is rock candy. And this is, it was a very, we had this back in our day, and it's made by hanging string. And I had a big metal pot. My kitchen was separate from the house because it was going from sun up to sundown. And you would hang the strings in there, and you would boil sugar and water, and then it would crystallize on the strings, and after several days form this rock candy. We still sell rock candy today, but today we have it in very pretty colors, and sometimes it's on sticks. We made this back in the day. We kept this behind the counter and sold it special. In fact, a lot of the adults bought it to flavor their drinks.